So out of different types of SDLC, so like waterfall method, V-shaped model, and spiral model, iterative and incremental model, agile model. So out of all this, we have looked into all methods by and large in brief, and then waterfall method we have discussed in detail. So now I'm going to talk about the agile methodology or agile model in detail. So this is the one which is widely used because of their huge benefits, and the most of my software career I have spent and I have worked with agile. Out of my 7 years, most of the time I have used agile methodology for all my projects. So because everywhere they follow agile methodology, so that's all. I like this agile methodology very much because of the customer orientation, because of the customer oriented methodology. Because of that, I really like this method. So let's look into this and jump into this and see what all are there in it. Okay, so we'll begin with what is the agile model. We'll begin with this question, then we'll move on to the other things like such as principles and what are the benefits and how this works and everything. So most companies have adopted the agile method of software development. It's a method wherein we use display boards like Kanban and methods like Scrum. So this agile methodology is adopted because it improves the agility of software professionals, teams, and organizations. In agile, the solution for any work will be through collaboration between self-organizing and cross-functional teams. To put it simply, to say in the other terms, agile is a process that allows teams to focus on delivering the highest quality in the shortest time. That's why I really like it. It uses an iterative approach wherein each work will be reviewed again and again until its goal has been met. So, so before understanding completely about agile, so where this agile has come up, from where this agile has come. So agile fundamentally come from certain principles. The whole agile methodology is based out of a few principles. So those principles we are going to discuss, those are 12 principles of agile. Those are famous and those are very important. Based on that, our complete agile methodology, agile frameworks, everything are laid on. Okay, the first one in out of 12 agile principles is customer satisfaction by delivering the software early. So in the agile method, we give utmost importance to customer satisfaction. Here, the aim is to give the customer an early and continuous delivery of valuable software. There will be a periodical interaction with the client about the ongoing software development lifecycle. Second one of the 12 agile principle is accept the change requirement even in the latter stage of development. This is what makes the agile stand out of any other SDLC models. So when the team is working on the deliverables and there is a new request or a change from the client regarding the ongoing development, then Agile helps us to harness that request and adopt the change requested by the client or to ongoing development. This helps the client to reach the goal easier and the team to adapt to that change. It's hard when we have to adapt to the change when developing the software, but change could be good if we can react it fast. Next, the third one is delivering the software frequently. When we can deliver the product periodically, it helps to identify the changes required and miscommunication, if any, with the client, rather than delivering after all the development in which developers cannot entertain any changes requested by the client. In this method, we can give incremental development and entertain any changes requested by the client. Let us move to the next agile principle, which is very impressive. That is the fourth one is daily cooperation between business people and developers. So this is what is very important. And when there is a daily interaction with the business people and developers, it helps the developers to work in the right direction and adapt if any changes are requested by the customer, and the client will be aware of the progress that's happening in the team. This makes the work happen smoothly and transparently. And the fifth one is projects are built around motivated individuals who should be trusted. When people who are motivated to work are given the environment and support they need to complete the task, then it will be beneficial for the client as well as the developers to reach the desired task. Having trust in the developer and standing by their side will help them to work comfortably. So there won't be what is that it's called necessity, there won't be any necessity for the micromanagement of the individuals. That's where even many of the developers, as a developer, as a data scientist, as a DevOps guy, even I like the agile methodology, agile principles, because it improves, it increases the trust between the people who are working around. And the sixth one what we have is a face to face conversation is the best form of communication. When having a face to face conversation, we can convey the information effectively. That's a fact, and in the most efficient way. Though sometimes developers will be in different places, an effort should be made to have a communication if possible face to face. And the seventh one that we have here is working on the project rather than planning. Working on the software should be the primary targeted. When working on it, the developers will have to concentrate only on the development. But if you concentrate on the following plan, then the developers will be diverted in activities like documentation and etc. And the eighth principle of agile is sustainable development, able to maintain a constant pace. Agile helps the developers to maintain a constant pace throughout the development cycle. This is termed as constant velocity, constant velocity, and we can have a measure of the team's potential so that going forward we can take up the work based on the team's velocity. So it makes us, it gives us the approximation of an estimation of the project schedule also. So next we will move on to the next agile principle, that is the ninth one. It's called, it's continuous attention, excellence, and better design. The ability to give continuous attention to the development is a sign that the team is striving hard to satisfy the customers. It's the ability to give the best to the owners. And the 10th, the maximizing the work efficiency. Agility is about cutting the cost that does not lend the value, keeping the work simple rather than making it complicated with unnecessary things is a specialty of agile. And 11th, its best design, the best solution, and architectural emerged from self organizing. It's all about best, best, best. But let's see some of the worst of agile principles in coming fourth slides. Okay, here what happens is a team that is cross functional can be called a self organizing team. These people are the best in the business. They will help the client to reach the goal with the best advice, with the best work, and with the best solution. Best, best, best. Okay, okay, final one. The most important one, that's the 12th one. It is a regularly meeting to discuss the team's improvement. This is a major part of the agile practicing team. Once the project is completed, a project review will happen. This will help the next client to approach in a different way. Another aspect will be after each scrum ends, an event called retrospective will be kept to know what needs to be improved and what the team has learned about itself from this. So with this, we'll wrap up the agile principles and we will move on to the agile methodology and how it works exactly. So we'll see the sub stages or phases of agile in SDLC. The software development field has tried several methodologies for delivering projects on time and took benefits out of it. Software engineering provides procedures and practices which must be followed during software development. And these are implemented in a variety of software and thus act as a pathway for computer techniques. So now, if you look into the agile methodology, fundamentally aims to gain high productivity or heavyweight process. It works on less planning and divides a task into small subtasks or small increments with the efforts of teamwork. The team follows the software development life cycle phases that are it begins with a requirement collection as we knew. It's the first stage of a software development life cycle, and then it will move on to analysis. After analysis, it will jump into designing that we have discussed all these phases in software development life cycle in our previous sessions or previous video. Kindly go back to that videos and have a look and then come back here if you're not clear about what I'm talking. Okay, so then from analysis it will move into designing phase, and then from designing it will jump into the coding. That's what the developing phase. And then after code is done developed, then we will move on to testing, quality assurance, staging. All these things will happen. Once testing is done, then the final step will go for the deployment and then maintenance, and the cycle repeats again and again and again and again. This is how your agile in SDLC. Okay, the agile process is iterative in nature, which means the changes can be made according to the customer's requirement until the customer is satisfied. So that's the the greatest advantage of agile in SDLC. So that's why we really like this. Not only we, the client really likes this project because he can add many requirements even after, even while project is going on, even while development is going on. So that's the biggest advantage of uh, this methodology or model. So then the agile methodology is in existence because it works a, on a quick delivery aim and open to acceptance requirements changes at even a late stage. It allows the user to interact face to face during requirements and documentation. So basically the biggest advantage of this is the team makes sure to deliver working software frequently within weeks rather than months. So customer satisfaction is an important principle by delivering rapid and continuous delivery of small and useful software. That's what we have discussed. This is one of the principle of agile. So customer centric, that's what the most important principle of agile. And agile put prime focus on product delivery with a satisfied customer and on time. So agile methodology welcomes changes in the project at any stage of development, and the agile team responds well with it. That's why we call it agile. uh, to make this project agile, the developers, whoever is working in this framework should be too agile. Agility is matter. Like MS Dhoni behind the keeping, behind the wicket. Even I am the best wicket keeper. That's what I thought. I do not know how you feel. That's fine. Let's move on to the uh, characteristics of agile software development. So the first characteristic, the most important characteristics, of course some other models also has this characteristic. So that is iterative. The aim of the agile process in SDLC is to satisfy customer. So agile process put the focus on customers requirement and allow multiple iterations which allow a customer make changes till he is satisfied. And the second characteristic is module. The software development system in agile divides the larger part. This is very important. This is very important. It makes a huge difference in development. It will be very helpful even troubleshooting, even during testing. If we face bugs, even that can be solved quite graciously because of this module concept. So what it does is it divides the larger part of the system into smaller parts or into manageable pieces called a module. Of course, module in Python means it gives a different meaning, but here it's by dissecting the bigger part of application into smaller manageable pieces. Is called as a module here, and this plays a very important role in the software development process. And the third one is again time boxing. This is widely helpful during working on the project. Here the iterative nature of the agile process requires the time limits in each module. So each module is bounded with a specific time frame. So each module will have a respective cycle. Then we have parsimony. Sorry, we should have okay, that's fine. uh, yeah, that's fine. So we will look into the incremental first, and then we'll move on to the parsimony. So incremental, here the agile process develops the system in an incremental or increments because of its iterative nature, and each increment is independent of the previous ones, but at the finishing stage all the increments are integrated into complete system. And the fifth characteristic of our agile software development is adaptive nature. adaptive nature in agile, there are chances of new risks occurrence because of its iterative nature. So its adaptive nature allows handling new risks and allows the changes in the real time requirements. And the sixth one is our parsimony. Here the parsimony is needed to mitigate the risks and achieve goals by minimal modules. And we have uh, risks associated with the processes are convergent by using the iterative and incremental approach. And ninth, as the agile process is in collaborative in nature, so it requires good communication among software development teams. That's what happens. And the final one, the agile processes are prioritizing customer satisfaction over the technology and process. So the good development team increases the performance and productivity of the projects. These are the characteristics of the agile software development. Basically makes a huge difference when you compare this model with any other existing model in market. So next, we will look into the functionality of the agile SDLC. uh, Before that, well, this methodology, it's a methodology. Agile fundamentally puts a prime focus on product delivery with a satisfied customer and on time. So this point should be remembered. Agile methodology welcomes changes in the project at any stage of development, and the agile team responds well with it. So now, if you see the functionality of agile SDLC, the most important one is it the working of agile starts with initial requirements and architecture. Then it goes to the scope of the life cycle. Then the most important aspect is iterations for pre-planning, project inspection and functioning. Then the release iteration and the final closure. This is how your agile SDLC works. Fundamentally it works. These are the steps it go through. Then if you see, though the scope of the life cycle can be varying dramatically, software development is not easy yet complicated, but can be managed using the correct approach based on the requirements from the project. The initial stage and the scope work almost the same for all models of the software development. For agile, important work starts with pre-planning phase, then identifying the customer capability of the project, and then accessing the feasibilities. So these are the main things that anyway we put it in the five functionality that we have discussed as the functionality of agile SDLC. So now we will look into the advantages of uh, our agile. So the most important advantage, it ensure customer satisfaction is key of the agile methodology. No assumptions are made by the team or the customer. The team and the customer will sit down and discuss requirements via face to face communication, and the team will continue accepting the inputs from the clients. And the second most thing, least documentation. Agile methodology has less or minimal rules to follow during documentation, or documentation can be easily employed. So compared to the other models, a reduced risk of development. Agile approach delivers a mini software to the customer after every short development, every sprint or every short development cycle, and includes the customer for the feedback, gets the feedback after every short development. And if there any changes to be made. It also warns the developer about the upcoming issues during the later development stages. It delivers the project within the planned context. So very less planning is required and easy to manage. The agile model provides a flexibility for developers and has a very realistic approach to software development life cycle.